Hi everyone, and welcome into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show presented by Just Slabbed on the National Soccer Network. Alongside Dan Stickradt, I'm Patti Cesarini, and we are going to be bringing you your Week 2 rankings for our Division 1 rankings. We will be joined by a special guest, Ellera Jakubowski. She plays for Utica Eisenhower, also plays for Liverpool FC. But before we get into any of that, Dan, we have had a lot of changes this week.
A lot of changes. These rankings are provided by us each and every week by the Michigan High School Soccer Coach Association. 42 total changes combining the four divisions of the 60 slots in the rankings. So a lot of movement up and down those lists. A lot of new teams in the top 15, a lot of new teams in the honorable mention categories as well. We'll be able to dig deep over the next hour, take a look at some of these conference races, some of the teams that made great leaps forward in the rankings, and some teams that maybe didn't have the expectations a few weeks ago are now on that radar, and their expectations are increasing each week. As the weeks go by, this is where things get fun. There's more changes going on, teams in and out, moving up and down in the rankings. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will be bringing you your Division 4 Week 2 rankings.
Looking for a score, a schedule, a story? MHSAA.com has you covered. Our newly redesigned website has everything you need to follow high school sports in Michigan. And it's optimized for mobile use. Fans can submit scores on a Friday night, check playoff pairings and game times, or read about the student athletes from your community. Your first stop is MHSAA.com. Connect with us online and get everything you need all in one place.
At Sarah Buick GMC Rochester Hills, football season is a great time to show off our new lineup.
Like our star players,
our beefed up defense,
our hurry up offense, and our impressive stats.
Check out these highlights.
Right now, you can lease this GMC Sierra Elevation Crew Cab for $239 a month, or take the field in a Buick Envista Preferred for just $159 a month.
With offers this good, you should start practicing your touchdown dance.
Only at Sarah Buick GMC Rochester Hills.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show presented by Just Slabbed. Alongside Dan Stickradt, I'm Patti Cesarini, and we are now presenting your Division 4 Week 2 rankings with a total number of changes at 14. Go ahead, take a look at what is on your screen. We're going to be starting at number 15. We have Saginaw Novell Catholic, Lansing Christian, Jackson Lumen Christi, Grosse Pointe Woods University Liggett, Granville Calvin Christian. At 10, Leland, then Kalamazoo Christian, Byron Center Zion Christian, Madison Heights Bishop Foley, Clarkston Everest Collegiate. At 5, Auburn Hills Oakland Christian, North Muskegon Plymouth Christian, Muskegon Western Michigan Christian, and at number 1, Royal Oak Shrine. There are no honorable mentions for Division 4 in Week 2, but the teams that are out from Week 1, Bloomfield Hills Roper, Adrian, Lenawee Christian, Saugatuck, and the teams that are now in, Madison Heights Bishop Foley, Leland, and Saginaw Novell Catholic. And Dan, Byron Center Zion Christian, they moved up 2 spots from Week 1.
4-0-0 on the season with 4 shutouts, 17-0 scoring edge for Zion Christian out of the Alliance League in the Grand Rapids, Muskegon area, one of their best starts in program history. Not too many ranked teams left, and each of the 4 divisions are unbeaten, but Byron Center Zion Christian is one of those teams. You look at that list, number 1, Royal Oak Shrine, a 10-spot leap up into the top spot. They're 6-1 overall, 23-8 scoring edge, but the Knights have been a powerhouse team in the last decade. They've been to 3 of the last 7 Final Fours, state championships twice in that span. They're looking to get their 3rd state title in the last decade to this season. They are one of the top teams. They have been playing very well here in the first few weeks of the season. They play in the AA division of the Catholic High School League. That's one of the best small school conferences in the state. A lot of ranked teams in Division 4, 3, and 2 will come out of that league. So Shrine playing well. Plymouth Christian, Auburn Hills, Oakland Christian, they're out of that same Michigan Independent Athletic Conference. The records may not show for some of these teams. Even Jackson Lumen Christi, which won the state title last year, struggling to score goals. But a lot of these teams, we talked about this last week, they have loaded up the non-league schedule. It doesn't matter what you did in March and early April. If you're losing the quality opponents or if you're losing the schools that are up a division or two, it will help you in the long run once you get to the state tournament. Some teams will have to run a gauntlet. Some teams will have an easier road to get out of a district into a regional, maybe into a semifinal, but those early non-league games will help prepare you for late in the season. Kalamazoo Christian, they have been to a multitude of Final Fours here since the early 2000s. They were your state champion 2 years ago, runner-up last year. They're one of those teams. They will play Hudsonville Unity Christian this week. They're Unity Christian, one of the top teams in Division 2. We'll talk about them later in the show, but Julian Allen, he always prepares the comments for deep runs because they play a tough non-conference schedule, as in most of these teams on that list. Grosse Pointe Woods University, Liggett, they've been to the Final Four multiple times. Granville Calvin Christian's won 3 state titles here, I believe 4 state titles in the last 20 years. And the teams have all done those types of things when they play tough competition. It doesn't necessarily do you a lot of justice if you go 19-1 in the regular season, but you don't play anybody outside of your conference, and your conference may not be strong, and then you end up getting bounced in a district semifinal because you were not prepared. So hats off to a lot of these teams. They have scheduled tough opponents throughout the entire season. And then we'll talk about Leland. Leland's up in the Leiluna Peninsula, north of Traverse City. They've only played 1 game. As everyone knows, the snowfall in the upper peninsula or the lower part of the upper part of the lower peninsula, they've had a lot of ice, a lot of snow here in the last few weeks. So teams up there are trying to get caught up in terms of the amount of games, and we'll start to see a fluctuation of teams in Northern Michigan kind of make their way in the rankings in the upcoming weeks.
And what's crazy is we even had snow over here in Oakland County. Last week I think it snowed twice, maybe, which is insane. But it's that's the Michigan weather. We're in April, even still as you trickle into May, it can get a little dicey. But does Royal Oak Shrine have what it takes to win their 3rd state title in 7 years?
Well, Mark Soma has done a great job with that program. It was a decade ago. They were just an average program, and now they have become a state powerhouse. They seem to get a lot of club players from a lot of high-quality clubs throughout the Detroit area. And as a Division 4 school, if you have a good assortment of club players, that can also help you make a deep run in the postseason. Players that are experienced, they travel around the country. They've had some Division 1 players come through their program here in the last decade, which is why I think they've been to 3 Final Fours in the last 7 or 8 years. So Shrine does have the talent. A lot of teams on the list do have the talent to make a run. We'll see how this all unfolds. Right now, a lot of schools are involved in their conference races already. If they haven't done so, they will dive in later this week. Close to 70 conferences across the state now have girls soccer. We talked about that last fall during the boys season. And then last week we mentioned that as well on the girls side. So a lot of soccer yet to be played. There are no conferences that have been decided yet. Most teams still hopeful to improve the MPR, maybe win a conference championship, go into that state tournament right before Memorial Day weekend on a hot streak.
All right, well, don't go anywhere. When we come back, you already know we're going to dive into the Division 3 Week 2 rankings. Go ahead, take a look at what's on your screen. We've got cameras all over this country. It's pretty crazy, but like I said, when we come back, we will have your Division 3 Week 2 rankings on the National Soccer Network.
In our online world, we have access to endless communication channels. But despite our online connections, one dynamic will always separate the value in a phone call from an email, and that's relationship. Growing businesses and customer relationships live and die by the phone system, and an enterprise phone solution is the key to bridging the communication gap between you and your customers. At Spectrum VoIP, we exist to make sure your communication is seamless, consistent, and reliable. With simple pricing and reliable support, we dramatically reduce your telecommunication expenses. We come to you to install, train, and onboard your team, and our 24/7 support team is always available to help. Our interactive web portal has endless features that include the real-time data you need, the ability to record, download, and re-listen to phone calls, and sending SMS text messages straight from your computer. And the best part is that all of this is available in the palm of your hand. Since reliability is one of your top priorities, we make it one of ours. So what makes us different? We don't just connect your phones. We power your connection with your customers, your team, and your next level as a business.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show presented by Just SLABBED on the National Soccer Network. We have your Division III Week 2 rankings ready to go for you. Take a look at what is up on your screen. Couple more changes here. Division 4 had the most, but Division 3 has 8 total for this week. Let's start at number 15, Fremont, followed by Almont, Brooklyn, Columbia Central, Williamston, Grand Rapids, West Michigan Aviation Academy. At 10, Flint Powers Catholic, Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, Freeland, Frankenmuth, Essexville Garber. At 5, Traverse City St. Francis, Warren Regina, Grosse Ile, Detroit Country Day. And then number 1 for Week 2 is Grand Rapids Catholic Central. The teams that are out are Grand Rapids North Point Christian and Allegan. The teams that are in for this week are Fremont, Brooklyn, Columbia Central, and your honorable mentions are Ovid Elsie, Milan, Macomb Lutheran North, Grand Rapids West Catholic, and Fremont. Now, Fremont is on the rise in D3, although they just made that jump into our weekly rankings.
Yeah, they come out of that West Michigan Conference that's been long since dominated by North Muskegon. Fremont, 2 seasons ago on the boys soccer side, they got to the regional finals. That is a program in both the fall and the spring that is definitely on the rise. They're going to be a factor in that race. We'll see how far the Packers can get in the postseason come June. Almont has dominated that Blue Water Area Conference the last half decade, off to just a 1-2 start, but they begin conference play tomorrow at Richmond. Brooklyn, Columbia Central, and Williamston will note those 2 programs were really young last year. They have both had very strong sophomore classes, so watch out for those 2 teams in their respective leagues. Grand Rapids West Michigan Aviation Academy, one of the longest school names in all of Michigan. I believe this is the first time this season they were ranked. They broke into the top 15 last week. They're at number 11 this week. They're in the Alliance League. We talked about Byron Center Zion Christian in Division 4. That will be one of the top teams in that league as well. Flint Powers Catholic, slightly down from where they've been in the past. That is a program that's been to close to 20 Final Fours in their program history. They are always a good team. New head coach Paul Stravato will have that team competing here this season. We've talked about this several times over the last couple of years. They are a Division III school in a league dominated by Division I and Division II programs. So they may not show it in the conference standings, but that team will be very battle-tested come district times. They're another team that you have to keep an eye on. Historically, they will be well prepared. Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, one of the few schools I believe that hasn't taken a spring break. I know a lot of the schools on the western side of Michigan were off last week, but Notre Dame Prep 4-3-3 overall, but they've scored 33 goals so far this season. They're starting to fire on all cylinders. They've played a lot of very good competition. They have been an independent here the last decade, so they've loaded up the schedule. They've kind of bounced around the state, playing a lot of teams that will compete in their respective leagues, and Jimmy Sostura has that team finally kind of piecing it together. They brought back, I believe, 9 starters and 15 players, so the Irish will be a team that might be the most talented side they've had since they won the state title back in 2016. Freeland, Frankenmuth, Essexville, Garber. They're side by side by side, and they're also from the same conference, the Tri-Valley Conference, up in that Bay City, Midland, Saginaw, Flint area. Those three teams have all done very well here in the last decade. It will be an absolute dogfight to see who escapes with the conference crown. Last year, Esseville-Garber edged out their two rivals. We'll see if they can hold on to that conference crown, or if they will allow Freeland, a Final Four team last year, or Frankenmuth to take the crown. Traverse City, St. Francis, their conference disbanded last June, so they are an independent. Traverse City, St. Francis is a host school. There's two other schools that feed into that program, but they are a team that broke into the rankings last season for the first time, and now they're up in the top 5. They're undefeated so far. That is a very quality team. Warren Regina plays at another school that plays a really tough schedule. They're out of that Central Division of the Catholic High School League. They've competed and won several districts over the years. Maybe not necessarily win the conference crown or the Catholic League tournament, but again, we talked about it there in Division 4. You play that type of schedule, it will pay dividends come the state tournament. Grosse Seal has a new head coach, Jonathan Evans. Evans has been the longtime boys coach for Grosse Seal. They were your state runner-up the last 2 years. They are the favorite in the Huron League, but New Boston Huron and a few others would like to have a say in that conference room. And then Detroit Country Day is Detroit Country Day. They're always a talented team in the Grand Rapids Catholic Central. 17-4 scoring edge, 3 shutouts. They're number 1. They're going after their first state championship this season in girls soccer.
And I want to talk a little bit about Grand Rapids Catholic Central too. They're going for their first state title. Do they have enough firepower to do that?
Yeah, they've kind of been waiting in the wings, because in the recent years, Grand Rapids South Christian and Hudsonville Union Christian have been down in Division 3. So a lot of teams like Grand Rapids Catholic Central, they've had quality teams. They've just been unable to get out of a district or unable to get out of a regional because there's such tough competition. Now, Division 3 is wide open. A lot of those teams on that list have ideas. They want to get to that final week, get to the Final Four, maybe play for a state championship. We'll see which teams emerge out of that hunt. It is going to be kind of tough to pick which school is going to win it all here, but Grand Rapids Catholic Central, they're playing as good as anybody in Division 3 after the first few weeks of the season.
And folks, if you want your story to be shared on the National Soccer Network, on our show, just go ahead and scan that QR code that's going to pop up on your screen. Scan it, send in your story, and we would love to talk about that and definitely highlight you as an athlete. Now, when we come back, we're going to dive into our Division 2 Week 2 rankings, so don't go anywhere. You are watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network.
Whether you're a beginner coach or a seasoned professional, one thing remains the same: the passion to teach and inspire the next generation of players. Now imagine a place where you could share your coaching knowledge, connect with others, and create a lasting impact. Welcome to the ultimate coaching community, where coaches from all levels can create and share their own courses. Whether you have years of experience or you're just getting started, this is your chance to make your voice heard. Create your own personalized courses, share drills, strategies, and tips, and watch as your knowledge reaches coaches from all corners of the soccer world. With a platform designed for sharing, learning, and growing, you're not just teaching the game, you're creating a community of like-minded coaches, all striving to be the best they can be. Together, we'll elevate the game and support one another to be better, stronger coaches.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
In for Baccarat, and that goes in! Buckley, oh, the ball falls to Buckley. One-on-one with Etheridge. What a save! Welcome into the first ever MSN All-State Media Day for girls soccer. Jonathan Turner alongside Dan Stickradt. Ball comes in, a good head! 1-0. Shot, another save from Etheridge. Rebound, and it goes in the back of the net. The Bulldogs up 1-0. Burzma, but then for Vlasma. 3-0. Stewart Heiss with a shot. Upper 90 and in. Effectively today here on the Michigan Soccer Network, we are launching our new division of player recruitment videos. Mario Canoe now finds Stock. Finds Stock's got a left-footed banger. He shoots it. It's in. The Red Hawks equalize.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show presented by Just Slabbed. Go ahead, if you want some custom training cards, make sure to scan the QR code that is up on the screen right now. They do a great job. They are obviously our presenting sponsor, so we've got a special place in our heart for Just Slabbed. But let's dive into our Division II Week 2 rankings now, starting at number 15. Go ahead, take a look at what is up on your screen. At 15, we have Goodrich, followed by Holly, Dearborn Divine Child, Otsego, East Grand Rapids. At number 10, Farmington Hills Mercy, Mason, New Boston Huron, DeWitt, Stevensville Lakeshore. At 5, Grand Rapids South Christian, Birmingham Marion, Richland Gull Lake, Grand Rapids Forest Hills Central, and number 1 is Hudsonville Unity Christian, for a total number of changes within Week 2 for Division II. At number 10, the teams that are out: Walled Lake Western, St. Joseph, Spring Lake. The teams that are now in: Dearborn Divine Child, Holly, Stevensville Lakeshore. And your honorable mentions are St. Joseph's, Middleville, Thornapple, Kellogg, Bay City Central, Hazlitt, Gilbrother, Carlson, and Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Now, Dan, between the top 3, they have a 16-0 record.
And you look through the MHSA archives and get what 3 schools have all won a multitude of state championships. None other than Hudsonville Unity Christian, Grand Rapids Forest Hills Central, and Richland Gull Lake. Gull Lake won a tournament here over the weekend. They've won 3 state titles here in the last 15 years. Jeff Korstains has done a great job with the program. The Blue Devils did bring back 10 starters, so they're a team. They won a district championship last year. They come out of a very deep conference, the Southwestern Michigan Athletic Conference. A lot of Division I schools in that. Well, there's 7 quality teams in that league that will be fighting for, top tier finishes in that conference. And Richland Gull Lake, year in and year out, seems like they're always in that top 3. Stevensville Lakeshore at number 6. They won a district championship last year as well. They made a debut in the rankings. At Lakeshore, under Brian Samuel, as a team back on the rise. They kind of came out of nowhere last year. They were very good at the end of last season. It's kind of carried over into this season as well. Birmingham Marion's in the 4 slot, another team that has been to the Final Four multitude of times here. They've been, I believe, 9 state championships in their program history. And so you look at the top 4 teams, and there is not just a lot of success on the pitch this year, but historically as well. Those 4 programs, you can go back 20, 30 years, and their name is all over, winning conference, district, regional championships, getting the Final Four, and playing for a state title. New team alert. Number 14, Holly. I do not believe Holly has ever broke into the rankings in girls soccer. About 15 years ago, the Broncos boys team made a couple of week appearances in the rankings. But Holly, under Eric Ransom, 4-0-0 start. They're in the same conference as Goodrich. Goodrich did go 11-0-0 in the Flint Metro League a year ago to win that league. They will have some company, a new face challenging Goodrich with Holly there. Dearborn Divine Child is another team that is back on the rise. They have a very talented team. They're scoring a ton of goals this season. Otsego, they've kind of been in the middle of the pack in that Wolverine Conference here for a while, but they're off to another flying start this year. East Grand Rapids, your state runner-up 2 years ago. But again, that whole Grand Rapids area, there are so many good teams in all 4 divisions. Most of these schools come out of one of the 6 divisions of the Ottawa-Kent Conference. There will be some very interesting conference races this season. East Grand Rapids does have a lot of club soccer players in their program. They will be a factor in the conference and district championship runs. Farmington Hills Mercy, they won that Catholic High School League tournament last year. Birmingham Marion was upset in the tournament. Mercy actually, it's been very difficult to score upon this year. They brought some club soccer players in that did not play high school last year that have helped the Marlins this year. So Mercy, not just a swimming school anymore, but on the soccer pitch, they are a team on the rise. Mason won a district championship last year. They're out of the Capillary Athletic Conference. They should be a very quality side again this year. DeWitt, Final Four last year. They're also out of the CAAC. New Boston Huron, they're in that Huron League. We talked about Grosse Ile. We talked about Milan. Those three schools will battle out in the Huron League this year. New Boston Huron has toughened up their non-conference schedule, so they have a couple links in the armor so far this year, but that's still a very talented team. Grand Rapids South Christian, just 21-1 scoring edge. They've been down in Division III for the last couple decades. They're up in Division II. They're kind of starting to climb the ranks here at number 5. So overall in that list, you even look at those honorable mentions. Bay City Central, I believe that's their best start in their program history, 5-1. They're in that Saginaw Valley League. A lot of traditional powers above them in the standings over the years of Bay City Central looking to pull some upsets, make some noise out of that conference. Gibraltar Carlson, they're out of the Downriver League. So Trenton has dominated that conference the last 10 or 15 years. Gibraltar Carlson, this could be one of their better teams they've had. That's a Downriver school. They are playing some very good soccer, 4-0-2. And then Orchard Lake St. Mary's. This is just the 4th year they've had a soccer program. Last year they made the regional finals. This year they hope to win at least another district and make another deep run. Still a very talented team. They lost some offensive firepower to graduation, but a very good team nevertheless. So overall, you look at that list, there's a lot of teams I see up there that could make the Final Four and even contend for a state championship here in the next couple months.
All right, sweet. Thank you, Dan. I'll let you catch your breath, as always. There's always one segment where Dan just, the hamster wheel just keeps spinning. But anyways, when we come back, we're going to get into our Division I Week 2 rankings, and we will be joined with our special guest, Ellera Jakubowski from Utica Eisenhower, also Liverpool FC. So don't go anywhere. You are watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network.
Looking for a score, a schedule, a story? MHSAA.com has you covered. Our newly redesigned website has everything you need to follow high school sports in Michigan. And it's optimized for mobile use. Fans can submit scores on a Friday night, check playoff pairings and game times, or read about the student athletes from your community. Your first stop is MHSAA.com. Connect with us online and get everything you need all in one place.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools, from Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show presented by Just SLABBED on the National Soccer Network alongside Dan Stickradt. And now our special guest, Ellera Jakubowski. I'm Patti Cesarini. Ellera, it's so good to have you here. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing well. Thank you very much. So I know obviously you're at Utica Eisenhower, play for Liverpool FC, but now you're dipping in to the high school season. What are you excited for?
I'm excited this year to hopefully make it further in districts, maybe even win a state championship, since I think this year we finally have the chemistry that we've needed.
Yeah, it's definitely, every year it's always hard because you're always constantly graduating new people, but you're an upperclassman now. So this is where, you step into that new little role, that kind of stuff, but you're also here not only for fun, but to do a little bit of business with us. So why don't you go ahead and read off our Division I Week 2 rankings.
All right, so starting off at number 15, we have Ann Arbor Skyline, Byron Center, Midland, Muskegon, Mona Shores, Heartland, Brighton, Troy Athens, Rochester Adams, Rochester, Bloomfield Hills, Rockford at 5, Portage Central, Troy, Utica Eisenhower, and Saline.
For a total number of changes at 10 for week 2. The teams that are out, it's just one, it's Romeo. The team that is in is Midland, and your honorable mentions for week 2, Matawan, Midland Dow, Northville, Romeo, and Granville. Dan, what jumps out to you about the Division 1 week 2 rankings?
Well, you have several teams out of the OA Red division. We'll start with there. 5 of the top 10 teams come from the OA Red. They have produced the last 3 Division I state champions. And what's interesting about that is some of those schools are on the list, but that league, the eventual conference champion is not the one that won the last 3 state champions. Bloomfield Hills won it in 2023. Rochester Stony Creek, which is not on the list this week, won it 2 years ago. And then last year, Rochester Adams came through and won the Division I state title. And Ellera, you come from Utica Eisenhower, number 2 ranked team in the state. You're in that same district with Rochester Adams, honorable mention Romeo, and Rochester Stony Creek. We'll start with there. How hard is it to win that district?
It's always really hard. You know, we just played Adams this week, and it's always some type of rivalry. And we're always fighting for some sort of title. So once you beat it, kind of sad.
Do you feel like for Division I that the expectations only go up every year?
I do. I really do.
And what is your most favorite part about playing for Utica Eisenhower?
My favorite part is honestly the people and the coaches. Everyone around you is just so fun to be around. We build more and more every single year, and it just always gets better.
And out of this list, you know, the top 15, you guys are sitting at number 2, but you know all these teams on there. You've either seen them before physically, or you've seen them on the TV. However it is, you know this list pretty well. Out of this list specifically, who do you think is the most difficult team to beat?
I think recently Rochester has really been shooting up there. They've been doing very good recently, getting strong.
And where do you guys think your team sits? I know it's early, I know that, but where do you think Utica Eisenhower sits in making a run for a state championship this year?
I think this year we have a pretty good chance at getting up there. It just takes that one time. You just got to get through one game at a time, and once you do it.
And I also want to highlight something that's fun about you. You're hidden talent. You know, not only are you good at playing soccer, obviously, but you can juggle. And I really wish that we had some tennis balls or something here. I should have thought about that, so I'll take responsibility for that. But Ellera, I really appreciate you coming on the show with us today and sharing your insights on what it's like playing, you know, at the Division I district level.
Yes, thank you so much.
Dan, any final thoughts?
Well, Utica Eisenhower, again, in the Macomb Area Conference Red Division, you go back over 3 decades, they've always been one of the top teams in their league. Expect the Eagles to do so again this year. Number 1, Saline. They last won a state title in 2015. The Hornets are firing on all cylinders. 36-3 scoring edge. We're only a month into the season, so Saline playing as good a soccer as any team in the entire state, all 4 divisions combined. Portage Central did not play a game until this past week. They played a couple of non-conference games and then a couple of games in a tournament over the weekend. 4-0-0 record, so Portage Central, one of those staples dating back several decades. They're a team that is always in the hunt. Brighton in the top 15. They've been a little bit quiet the last couple of years, but the Bulldogs making some noise. They will be Heartland's top challenger in that West Division of the Kensington Lakes Activities Association this spring. Muskegon Mona Shores are out of that Ottawa-Kent Conference on the west side of the state, Green Division. They do have some company, Byron Center. There was 22 different schools in that league that switched divisions. Byron Center is now in the same league with Mona Shores. That is going to be a dogfight for that conference championship. Down on the honorable mention, I want to point out Matawan. That is a team I talked about in the preseason, a team to watch, kind of bubbling under. They have an exceptional junior class. Look for them to make waves. They're in the same conference with the Portage Central. We talked in Division II about Stevensville Lakeshore, Richland Gold Lake. St. Joseph. There is a ton of very talented teams in that league. We can go down that list. Battle Creek, Lakefield, not listed yet. Another team that could make onto the Division I list this season. Kalamazoo, Loy Norrick's another Division I school that has not lost yet this season. So that is a very deep league. We talked about the OA Red. There's other leagues across the state. All divisions of the Ottawa-Kent Conference are absolutely loaded, and we'll expect to see some teams make deep runs in all 4 divisions out of that league. So kind of to break that down, again, the OA Red, 5 of the top 10 teams. Utica Eisenhower, as Ellera Jakubowski is with us today. They are playing as good as soccer as anybody as well. That is a team that has never won a state championship. Will Eisenhower be able to get it done here in 2025? Stick around for the next couple months. State finals just 2 months away.
I know, we're definitely going to find out. And before we close things out officially, Ellera, I just want to ask you, you've seen now our show. You know how we do a Share Your Story. I want you to now share your story. How did you get into soccer, and how did you get to where you are now?
I started when I was younger. My siblings always played it. My parents didn't want me to get into it when I was too young. Didn't want me to grow out of it, and I truly do think that helped because it just made me want to do it more and more. And as soon as I started playing it, it's just always been something I wanted to do. I've always looked forward to going. It's been great.
There's nothing like a good old sibling rivalry, playing the same sport to really get you into it and then also help you excel at it too. And where are you at in your career now?
Hopefully looking for college. I'm still open to wherever, but just trying to get in there somewhere.
Hey, it's a different world out there right now. We were talking about it earlier. It is a completely different just world, unit, whatever you want to call it out there with the recruiting. But we have no doubt that you are going to be successful at the next level, and we wish you the very best of luck moving on in your career.
Thank you.
Well, that is it now for our Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show presented by Just Slabbed on the National Soccer Network. Once again, thank you to our producer, Jonathan Turner. I'm alongside Dan Stickradt and Ellera Jakubowski. I'm Patti Cesarini, and we will hopefully see you next week.